Hi everyone, thanks for coming to Just Nerdy Mommy Things. I am Nerdy Mommy. On this channel, we're going to talk about parenting, nerd stuff, secularism, homemaking, and basically anything else that I want to talk about, and it's all going to come from my point of view. Today we're going to talk about like little tips and tricks and things that are going to make it, maybe not make it easier for you, but that have made it easier for me to parent my two toddlers during this lockdown. Um, I've mentioned briefly in previous videos how my partner is gone a lot. So sometimes his job takes him away for months at a time, and even when he is here, he generally works bananas hours. So it's just me and the kids a lot. A lot. And they're 1 and 2. And here in Sydney, we've been in lockdown for 2.5 months now. And it's been exhausting. It's exhausting. You wouldn't think, unless you're a parent, of course, that just hanging out at the house all day with your kids would be so much more tiring than taking them somewhere and doing planned activities with them. You just get so burnt out, and at least I did. I don't, maybe you're a better parent than me, but I got burnt out. There's a few things that I do that make it a little bit easier. So I don't think this video is going to be terribly long. I did have a few other things that I wanted to add in, but they're going to take a lot of editing, which I did not get to. So all the footage is done. As soon as I get the editing taken care of, it'll probably just get uploaded as a bonus video, and it's just how I clean crayon off of the walls without a magic eraser, because magic erasers are expensive and I don't have them. I do ask you to forgive me because while I have been planning this list for a while, you can see my notes. They're very scattered and very small. It's because I did not spend a lot of time on them. So this video is probably going to be a little cluttered. But we're just going to go through it together. Here we go. Cheers. All right, so first of all, I get a lot of questions about how I feed 2 grumpy toddlers at the same time 5 times a day. And if you have toddlers, you know what 5 times a day are: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks. So lunch and dinner we feed at, well, they're all at the high chair, which I will show you right now. This is my high chair. This is my very messy playroom. That's the high chair. So I will put my son, my youngest, in the high chair, and my daughter will stand in front of it because it's just a short high chair. It's the perfect height for her to stand in front of. So, and she likes to eat standing up. She has a lot of energy. She doesn't like to sit down. And I noticed that if she was sitting down, she wouldn't eat enough, and 10 minutes later she'd be telling me, "I'm hungry, Mommy, I'm hungry." When she stands up, she'll stand there and she'll, play with her food a little bit, but ultimately she'll eat it. And I can just put a mat under it, and when they're done, I can just scoop the mat up, shake it out outside. Done. This one also has a removable tray, so I just take the tray off and wash it at the end of each day. That's pretty easy. For breakfast, we normally have like fruit bars, like granola bars, and a fresh fruit. For lunch, we can have anything from like sandwiches or hot dogs. Today we had chicken quesadillas that I made because I find that if I cook a couple of chicken breasts in the crock pot at the beginning of the week, it'll get used. And it does make things really easy if you're tired or if you just weren't on top of things to plan a meal. Having chicken breast in the fridge that's already cooked means you can make anything out of it. You can just shred it onto a plate with some veggies, or you can make it into a quesadilla like I did today. I always keep shredded cheese and wraps for that reason too. My kids really like pinwheels, so you just you put the cheese and the chicken in a regular tortilla and you wrap it really tight and cut it, and it looks like a pinwheel on the inside. But yeah, and then yeah, lunch and dinner I actually put him in the seat and they eat, but for breakfast and snacks I let them both explore and stand up while they're eating. And I also don't bother with plates or bowls or even separate servings. I put the whole meal on the plate. That way, you know, because there's always one that's hungrier than the other, and if I put two separate things down, everything ends up on the floor because they just want to eat out of each other's bowls. But if I put one food down, they'll eat it, and they'll eat just what they want, and that's it. Everybody ends up happier. I also I buy in bulk because I'm cheap, and I'll break bulk packages up into these pre-portioned servings. So this is 2 meals worth of chicken nuggets for my kids. There's a lot of chicken nuggets in here, but usually if I cook it, I'll do it for 2 nights in a row. So this is the same. It's 2 meals worth of vegetables for my kids. And there's a list of instructions for all of these things on the fridge for exactly how long they need to go into what. So like this will go in the microwave for 4 minutes, but this will go in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius for 18 minutes. So everything is labeled and sorted, and then when I run out of things, I just buy more when I go to the shops. So it's not an easy thing to set up, but if you do get it set up, it makes things a lot easier later. So, moving on, we're going to talk about stuff I like to do with my kids, because you can't just let them watch Mickey Mouse all day. Probably shouldn't. Sometimes I do. But when I don't, can't really go anywhere, right? I'm really just stuck to this space. I have a really small outdoor area, but it's covered in brick pavers. There's no grass, there's no yard. It's basically just a patio, which we're making work. It is luckily fenced in, so I don't have to worry about them falling off or getting out or anything like that. It's completely enclosed. We do a lot of chalk and bubbles outside. I'll also put my kids have a rowboat, so instead of like a rocking horse, they have a boat that rocks. I'll put that outside and they'll climb in and out of it and they'll cover it in chalk. And they have a great time for much longer than I thought that they would. And that generally kills like an hour or 2 out of our day. If I need it to be a little bit longer because they're a little too hyperactive or something like that, I'll also put on music that they like. My kids really like the Disney station on Spotify, but whatever your kids like, I'll put it on outside and we will have a dance party outside because it's starting to get warmer here in Australia, and I would rather them get fresh air and sunshine than this same room all day, every day. And that's just me. I don't think that's just me. I think that's most people. Most people would rather, but we don't always have the energy, right? Now, as far as safety goes with 2 toddlers, I can't be chasing them around all the time. So for me, it's gates, 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 gates everywhere. I have different types of gates. I have a metal gate there, and you can see the yellow and red behind it is part of a plastic playpen, which I put in front of the metal gate to prevent my dogs from stealing food from my kids while they're eating. I've got this gate, which keeps them away from the door. I've got this gate here, which keeps them away from the power cord and the window. I have gates everywhere. Everywhere in this house. Gates. because this house was not built for kids, and some of the things here are just absurdly unsafe. And I would rather keep my kids where I know that I can see them so that they don't get hurt. For example, we have just this window here, and I have had to move everything away from that window so the kids can't climb up because they'll climb through it and into the kitchen. You know, kids are curious and they're really quick. And with two, you can't always juggle them. So I found that it's easier to try to anticipate and minimize things rather than just trying to stay on top of it. So, bath time crafts. And I don't mean like crafts that you do at bath time. I mean like like the kids are screaming and they're being bananas, or they're bouncing off the walls and you can't go outside, so you need to do something with them, but you don't have a lot of time to put it together. That's fine. Strip your kid down to their nappy or diaper, and pop them in the tub. And there are 3 activities that I do with mine that way. The reason I keep their nappy or diaper on is because all these things are edible, but I don't want them to eat things that have been peed on. So the first one that I do is called oobleck. You've probably heard about this. It's the non-Newtonian liquid. You can look up videos about it or instructions online how to make that. They're literally everywhere. Mythbusters did a clip years ago where they filled a bathtub with it and then they ran across it, but then they stood still and they sunk into it. It's really cool. It's just water and cornstarch. Or if you want to be super fancy, you can add a little bit of food dye into it, but you don't want to add too much. You have to be really careful because I have stained my entire child green by adding food dye into oobleck. But they have a blast. They get to like smack it and squish it and whatever, and then it just rinses away down the drain. Not a problem. The second one is yogurt finger paints. So it's just whatever yogurt. I just buy like jugs of cheap Aldi yogurt because I'm not spending a lot of money on nice flavored yogurts or something like that just for it to be washed down the drain. And food coloring. So I just do it in different pots with different colors. I put the kids in the tub, I show them how it works, and I let them paint all over the tub, and then it rinses away. And then the last one is, if you're American, Jell-O. If you're Australian, jelly. I use, what is it called? Airplane brand. It's just in America you would use Jell-O brand. But I just put it in a bowl and let it set, and then I just dump the entire bowl into the tub. Sometimes I'll put it into like cupcake liners or molds or some ice trays just to get different shapes. But my kids don't really seem to care about that at all. They just want to have more Jell-O. If I could fill the entire bathtub with Jell-O, my kids would have a blast. And I should probably do that because it doesn't cost very much to do the Jell-O activity. And the same thing, it's completely water soluble. So as soon as you're done, I always stand the kids up, I take off their nappies, I put on the water and try to get as much of the gunk out first. And then I fill it up with appropriately temperatured water, set them down, give them a quick bath, and then the activity's over. I like to do it kind of like before nap time or before dinner so they're really calm and ready to get into bed and get into a restful space. I also like to do what we call boundary time. So every morning after I get the kids up, and we do breakfast, and we read a book, and we get our nappies changed, and all these things, I make a cup of coffee, and I sit down. And I sit down for 20 minutes every morning, and I drink my coffee. Sometimes I'll put the TV on for the kids. Sometimes I'll put the news or something on that I want to watch. But in any case, the kids know that boundary time means that they're not allowed to climb on me. They're not allowed to jump on me. They're not allowed to pull on me. I'm not helping them color. I'm not reading books. It's time for mommy to get ready for the day. And they know that, and they're comfortable with it, and they play on their own for 20 minutes. But they know that when my coffee is empty, that it's all fair game again. My kids really like to be on top of me. We joke a lot that if they could crawl back into my skin, they would. Especially my son. He is on my lap all day, every day right now because he's cutting molars and he's not happy. So the boundary time was really important for me to get a little bit of my autonomy back with it all. That goes straight into alone time for everyone. My kids, they only have each other to play with, but that doesn't mean they want to be in each other's faces all day. So I find it really important to separate them for 10 or 15 minutes every day and let them do an activity by themselves. I also will let them play in here by themselves while I go and work on my crafts in the next room. Now I can see them perfectly clearly from the next room, and they are safe in this space, but it helps a lot to take a break and not be in the middle of things all day long. And it does for them too. My kids have really responded well from their alone time. They get a little bit of it in their room sometimes. Sometimes if one of them's napping, the other one will get some special mom time or something like that. And we have really tried to keep everybody sane and happy and comfortable. The next thing is when things aren't comfortable or happy, when you don't feel good. I just got over a case of bronchitis. I've been sick for over a week. I don't know if you can hear it. My voice is still a little bit raspy. I'm still pretty congested and just kind of gross feeling. So this has been a lot lately where I just don't have the energy to chase them, to climb with them, to take them down off of things, to have them sitting on me all the time. So I have a in case of emergencies box. So in it we have doodle books, little wooden stacker toys, stickers, Mr. Potato Head, puzzles, craft noodles, just things that we don't normally play with. And I keep this box up and out of the way unless we're going to use it. So my kids can't reach this. They can't climb into it all the time. And I know other parents that keep like jelly window clings or window stickers or window paint or like puzzles and things like that in their bags. This can really save you on a day when you're just beat down. Now, if you've got that for in the house, then you should probably have something for if you have to leave right off the bat. If you do not have time to pack your baby bag, say you have to go to the hospital or you need to run to the grocery store really quick, or your kid's got a fever and you need to go to the doctor, or you just got a phone call and you need to run somewhere, anywhere, whatever. You want to have a go bag. And this is just enough to get you through a couple hours with the kids in the world. So I've got hand sanitizer, got a snack, got a juice, 2 nappies and wipes, got my wallet, my notebook, a pen, and my keys. And then I've got just a pouch of like pads, chapstick, baby Panadol, baby Tylenol, nappy rash cream, and lotion in the side here. And this stays packed all the time and by the door. If I need anything else, I can pop any extra stuff into here. But if I have to run out the door, I have everything that I will absolutely need to get me through until I can get whatever else I might need. All right here. We also do a few things for bed that may be a little bit different. Because my husband is gone all the time, we had him record his voice onto a Build-A-Bear, specifically Snorlax. My daughter calls it Dadalax, and when she's settling into bed, she plays it, and it's just my husband's voice saying, hi, it's Daddy, I love you, I miss you, I'll see you soon. And when she's upset or when she's really missing him, when she's, really feeling like she needs that comfort, she'll play it over and over and over again until she falls asleep. She also has a blanket that belonged to my husband when he was a baby that she snuggles up with. And we have this magical spray. This is just water with a couple drops of lavender in it. It's not anything special, but it's a magical spray. If I spray this on the pillow, then, well, my kids don't actually use a pillow, but like in their bed, then they will have only good dreams and they'll be able to sleep better. And if I spray it on their hand after they've like fallen down on their knees or whatever, I don't spray it on open injuries, but I'll spray it on them after they've gotten hurt, and it makes them feel better because it's magic. This is just from the dollar store. It's just tap water and a couple drops of lavender. And I mean, say what you want about lying to kids, but I think that this makes them happy, feel safe. I don't think that they're going to grow up and be mad at me for my magical spray. I will tell you, once they start believing in monsters, though, this chases away the monsters. And it makes their bed smell nice. I like that. I like that it makes their bed smell nice. I have a few more, but I've already been going for 23 minutes. So I think we're going to go ahead and cut it there. I'll probably throw the rest in with the other recorded stuff that I had from the other video that I told you about, and I'll put that out next week. So next week we'll talk about removing crayon from walls and how I frame discipline. None of this it's not medical advice. I'm not a medical professional. I am just a mom. This is just what I do, and you don't have to do it. That's the glory of parenthood. We're all going to do it differently. If you disagree with it, then don't do the things that I do. If you are struggling and you want to try one of these things, then that's great. If you have any ideas of your own, let me know. I really would love to hear them. I post on Thursdays, so I hope to see you again next week. And that's it. That's all I have. Have a good one.